Hello everybody, I'm Dr. BLT. That stands for Dr. Bruce L. Thiessen. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. I work at a community health clinic in San Diego, California. And I'm here to offer you a little bit of psychological commentary. You might have seen my psychological commentary on Cake's music video for Short Skirt, Long Jacket. Yeah, that was me. Some of you might know me by that great music video. But the tips that I offer today have to do with fitness. These 3 tips that I offer represent a triple threat to something called ennui, which is a French term. It means a complete depletion of energy. And during this pandemic, there's certainly a lot of ennui going on, listlessness, feelings of low energy, depression, anxiety. These are all potential obstacles to get in the way of the fitness champion. Here's the first tip that I have to offer. Adopt an optimistic perspective. No, I'm not talking about the type of optimism where you're sticking your head in the sand pretending everything is wonderful. I am offering the type of optimism in which you have an inner confidence that no matter what happens, you're going to find the resources to prevail. That optimism is so important for getting yourself off the couch. And you need to adopt what is known as an internal locus of control in order to accomplish this. Internal locus of control means that you're inwardly guided and you're not blaming outside things for your failure to take responsibility. You know, a person that adopts an external locus of control might say, you know what? Look at all the stuff that's happening in the world. I can't possibly find the motivation under these conditions to work out. Besides, my gym's closed. How can I work out if my gym's closed? Those are examples of statements you might hear from somebody that has an external locus of control. An optimistic person has an internal locus of control, and in case of the gym, that might be reflected in a statement such as, "Let's do this." That's right, and that's the outlook, that's the perspective I'm inviting you to adopt. Some of you might know that I think in song titles. There's a song by Incubus, it's called Drive, and it talks about riding shotgun to fear, which is something somebody that has an external locus of control would do. They would ride shotgun to fear. But the song talks about grabbing that wheel away from fear and taking control, taking charge of the situation. And when I consider the patients that I've worked with that have been struggling to find the motivation to work out, the ones that have been successful have been ones that made the decision to grab the wheel and take charge. They've adopted that optimistic outlook, that internal locus of control. Tip number 2, strive for balance. Don't be that guy or that girl that overworks and does not take the time to relax, to rejuvenate, to restore the torn down muscle fibers. It's all about balance. And the champions I've met within my own practice, some people call them patients, I call them mental health athletes. The mental health athletes on my caseload that are true champions have been ones that have striven for balance. They've strived for balance, rather. Tip number 3, avoid stress eating. And I would also like to add, avoid stress drinking. Now, stress eating starts with a fantasy. It starts within the imagination. You imagine that junk food that you most admire and how it might offer you comfort when you've just been scanning the headlines for bad news on the COVID-19 situation or on the civil unrest and all of the rest of the stuff that's happening in the world. That's right, it starts with a food fantasy, but what I'd like to invite you to do in order to avoid these types of binges is to replace the food fantasy with a fitness fantasy. That's right, imagine yourself shrinking to fit into those tight-fitting jeans of yours, or being on the beach, showing off those abs. But it's not all about appearance, it's about health more than anything. And there's never been a time where we need to be more health conscious than now because of the whole coronavirus thing. We want to make sure that our immune systems are strong, that we're doing everything we can to be on our own side in this battle against the coronavirus. So those are the 3 tips that I have to offer as the song shrink. Tip number 1, adopt an optimistic perspective. Tip number 2, strive for balance. And tip number 3, avoid stress eating, stress drinking, and I would add stress drugging. Don't self-medicate for feelings of anxiety and hopelessness. Take charge. Or in other words, shrink to fit. Let me end on these words. Oh, by the way, before I do that, I'd encourage you to listen to the song by Queen, We Are the Champions, and adopt that. You might even want to create a little playlist of songs that motivate you to work out. We Are the Champions by Queen would be a good one to add to that playlist. We are the champions, my friend, and we'll keep on fighting till the end. We are the champions. We are the champions. No time for losing, because we are the champions of the world. Shrink to fit into those tight-fitting jeans. Shrink to fit to prevent disease. Take it from me, Dr. BLT. I'm the song shrink. Give you tips to make you think. I hope my 3 tips will prove helpful on your road to becoming a fitness champion. Thank you for listening. I'm Dr. BLT. Shrink to fit.